What up, everybody, and welcome back to Tail of the Tape, brought to you by Gym Bag Entertainment, and this is your combat sports show by guys who love combat sports. And as always, it's your host. I'm your boy Craig here with my co-host,
your anxious analyst, Michael Johnson.
All right, so we missed a few weeks due to unforeseen circumstances. Got jobs, and sometimes it gets in the way, unfortunately.
Things happen.
And so we got a little backlog, to go through. But before we jump into that backlog, I want to just jump into a little bit of news.
Absolutely.
Let's just start off with the news that hit right before we did the show today, is the PFL making a choice after all of the negative words or opinions had by Gerard Masasi about the PFL and their handling of his contract and his fights, have released him.
Which is crazy. Their best champion.
Yeah.
Their best fighter by far. It's world class. The man could still compete on any stage.
Absolutely.
People say he's a little diva-ish. Which is, why they say he got bounced out of the UFC, and then Bellator might have had some of the same problems with him.
Really?
Yeah, so this is like his third main...
He fought in the UFC?
Yeah, he certainly did.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not remember him fighting in the UFC, but...
Yeah,
wow.
And he only lost 2 fights and got cut. It was a surprise cut. Like, really, why? You know what I mean? So
okay.
It kind of could point to him being a little too diva-ish.
A little too diva-ish, okay.
He thinks, even since he left the UFC, he never was a title holder in the UFC.
Correct.
But, he's always said, I could beat any of them champions. And, he's always thought that he's better than all of them. So.
I mean, one person we all know he has a huge win over is Michael Venom Page.
Absolutely.
Who has made his way over to the UFC. And I feel like maybe you might have a little, not as historical and not as great, but maybe a little of that Izzy, Alex Bejeda situation going on, where they might want to bring him in for that rematch.
Yeah, I think he's aging now, but I don't see why not, if you can work with him.
Yeah, if he can make it happen.
That's a name to bring over that people know.
100%.
And he's still top level.
Absolutely. All right, so there's been a lot of talk about Jon Jones, and we all know the Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic fight has been in the books for a long time. There's a lot of buzz out there about in November, end of the year.
Yeah.
But Jon Jones has taken to social media saying, should he fight Tom Aspinall? Should he fight Alex Bejeda? But the 100%, his next bout is going be against Stipe Miocic, but some people think he might, after Stipe, hang it up, being afraid to fight the likes of a Tom Aspinall.
I would never claim that Jon Jones is afraid of an opponent.
I agree.
I would say maybe afraid to stain his legacy. You know what I mean? Knowing that it's real high risk to fight. A Tom Aspinall, and I wouldn't be mad at him for that. I mean, you're gonna have that many wins, be the the undefeated guy,
and never taking a genuine loss,
right? And then take a huge risk at the end of your career to possibly get.
And I would say, and the other thing
especially
I would say,
if you beat Stipe well, if you finish Stipe,
correct. And what I would also say is,
I don't think that's a
Jon
bad idea.
Jones isn't young.
No,
he may
not
be,
anymore.
Yeah, he may be top tier, and the way he beat Cyril Gane makes me think that there ain't anybody in the heavyweight division that's going to handle him.
Right.
But if there was a guy who could take it to him, it would be Tom Aspinall. And my question to that would be, does that really take away GOAT status? Because at the end of your career, at the lowest part of your career, because you are older, guys like Anderson Silva and Chuck Liddell fought a little too long. If he took that one fight and lost, I don't think it takes away from his GOAT status, nor do I think it makes Tom Aspinall the GOAT.
No, because like you said, the aging, the end of your career, but when you have the undefeated legacy.
Yes.
I don't see the point in risking it.
Me neither.
To be honest. And, he's come up in weight, he's suffered the injury.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge risk.
I agree.
But if you beat Stipe easily, why not fight Tom Aspinall?
True.
I mean, that means you still got it all. But however, how much of a gauge is it beating Stipe? Stipe hasn't fought since, getting knocked out
he's old
by
as well.
Ngannou.
Yeah.
So it's not like Stipe's fresh. Yes, we still consider him heavyweight GOAT, but he's not in probably the best fighting form.
I would say not. And the other thing I would say is, even though he did win, he did lose to Daniel Cormier.
Right.
A guy who never even, I don't even think, stood a chance in the octagon against the likes of John Jones. So I would be excited. And if you did beat Tom Aspinall, then it really just...
In the last, fight that we technically seen from Stipe, he went to bed. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, he did go to bed.
So I don't know.
It's a tough one. Well, we'll see how it goes, but
makes me dream of the fantasy match of Francis and John Jones.
Oh God, I think that's a fight that MMA fans are gonna get robbed of that we deserve.
Yeah,
we deserve that fight, and maybe, who knows? Maybe one day John Jones will retire from the UFC and maybe do a one-fight deal with the PFL, and just to get that one fight under, or maybe the UFC and Francis Ngannou come to some sort of terms for a one-fight deal against John Jones,
or perhaps one of these boxing matches that we see. You know what I mean? Could we see a couple years later?
That's tough. Maybe. I don't think John Jones can handle it. That's the worst idea for John Jones.
Like you see lots of it happening from these retired MMA fighters. Good segue maybe into Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen.
And I couldn't agree more. And this is funny, two old heads. I like it. I will say, and this is the one time where they said this, and I respect it. It's an exhibition.
Yes.
It is not a legitimate boxing match. It's just an exhibition, and it's for fun. These two dudes have become friends over the turmoil of their careers. Yes. They have become friends. They've been at each other's houses for cookouts. Mm-hmm. They've entertained each other's families. So I do think this is going to be a fun event.
Yeah. One of the greatest things that I saw, Anderson's son, Cali Silva, a pretty good young prospect. Honestly, he's flown out multiple times to train wrestling with Chael Sonnen.
Really?
So I think that's pretty cool.
That's dangerous. That will make him
He grew up learning striking from his dad,
and then and jiu-jitsu, and then to learn wrestling from the likes of Chael Sonnen, one of the best wrestlers the UFC's ever had.
I think that kid is somebody to follow. He's super young, but he's in his amateur career right now. But, he's got all the coaches in front of him, not just the likes of, like, Chael. I mean, when your father is Anderson Silva, you can train with anybody in the world.
Anybody in the world. And those guys want to train you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because to train the son of a legacy.
And he has the natural gifts, too,
I've seen a highlight reel of a quickly ended fight by him.
Yes.
So he does seem like an exciting prospect. Hopefully he takes his time and develops himself the right way, and doesn't allow his name to propel him too quickly, because that is something that can really put you on a bad path.
But I think the exhibition between them is good.
Yeah,
like, it raises money. They probably will do some charity thing. You know what I mean? Usually exhibition bouts, some charity gets something. So
and it's just going to be fun to watch.
Everybody wants to
Neither one of these dudes are boxers.
No.
But it will be fun to see,
It kind of seems like Anderson has a bit of an advantage here. But Chael's hands was always pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't one of those guys who was just like, I'm going to dive in.
It's footwork that he lacks,
Absolutely.
And that can tell when it's just the boxing ring, the footwork can bite you.
Well, it might not go so well.
But
since we're in the boxing, I do want to, we got to touch on it because it was the biggest fight in boxing that we've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Tyson Fury versus Usyk, and this was, this was boxing at its highest level.
Yes, it's the best heavyweight fight I've seen in a long time. You had everything, a little bit of everything. You had the size disadvantage with Fury being huge.
Absolutely.
And, Usyk being up against it. But, both men displayed such technical prowess. And Usyk with changing the game plan up.
Absolutely.
Like halfway through the fight,
it's kind of funny is I feel like, and I'm literally not saying this is what happened, but it felt movie scripted. And if you look at Tyson Fury as the bad guy, 6 rounds of, not damaging punishment, but punishment nonetheless.
I mean, there was in the 4th round when he hit him with that, he was leading with that uppercut to the body.
Oh, God.
And one of them, you seen Usyk visibly crumble down for a second, and he had to put the game face on to stay in that one.
And Tyson Fury really having fun in there in the beginning rounds.
Maybe too much.
Too much fun. I know I told you this when the fight was happening, but one of the funniest moments is he had his hands on the top rope and he's doing a little playfulness, but then pops his arm off the rope with a right hook and it lands, and it was just like that type of stuff is super entertaining, especially if you're a fair weather boxing fan.
I mean, and for a guy that size to move like that is just so impressive always. Tyson is really one of the best in
he throws that jab out like a
crazy.
like a cobra snake.
I love that right hand, the back uppercut as his lead punch. That was crazy. He was feinting the jab and then popping it so fast.
It was a clinic
there
on
was
both
a couple
sides.
that might have looked a little low.
Yeah.
Usyk complained a little bit,
It was a headbutt as well. I think it happened twice.
Yeah, I think that's where the cut on Usyk's eye came from, was the headbutt, the clash, because Tyson leans that weight on you. But it didn't tire him, not one bit.
Not one bit.
And he came on so strong, round 6 and after.
And he took all the delight out of Tyson Fury's face.
Oh, yeah, he stopped playing immediately. And, he started landing that counter left over the top. He was countering the right hand, rolling it up over the shoulder, and just cracking him. He didn't see it coming.
No, I mean
because of the height. I think The punch was coming. It's almost like a fighter keeping his hands low. You don't see it coming.
You don't see it coming. Yeah, the ability, even though he was getting outstruck in the beginning, to maintain that pressure.
Because he kept coming forward.
And I believe that he knew what he was in for, and he was reserving himself in those rounds in order to be able to pour it on in the final rounds. And then when you get to that 9th round, and he puts a hurt on Tyson Fury in a way he's never experienced, that was incredible.
I mean, even he was probably more hurt than when he was dropped by Wilder. It took a bunch of damage, shot after shot. Definitely the ropes just kept him up.
Saved his life. I would say he was even more hurt than when he got knocked down by Ngannou. I think Ngannou probably hit harder than Wilder, and I think
only because I think when Wilder dropped him, I think it was a full 10 count if you ask me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I gotta say I missed that one.
They say he gets up at 8, but that's not how I counted. But anyways.
Yep. All right. Okay.
Neither here nor there, but
So twice he got saved by refs.
Yeah, and I think he could have got the knockdown. He went around the ring like twice, the whole ring,
bouncing off. Ropes.
Just bouncing off the ropes. It could have been a knockdown much before that, but it could have been stopped.
100%. We both have said we've seen fights get stopped in boxing with less visible damage and hurt.
You're taking just shot after shot and not answering back and just falling against the ropes. How many shots do you let a fighter take?
Yeah, I don't know. That one
but
was
he
tough.
Came back.
He did come back, and I will say, in Tyson Fury's defense, he came back and still looked good.
And still
looked in the fight. His recovery was as soon as the round began, he was fully recovered and ready to go, which is just his MO. He is a very durable guy.
Yeah.
But and the other thing I would say is, I do think it could have got stopped. Not necessarily mad that it didn't,
right?
And I think that they made up for the non-stoppage by giving the 10-8 in that round, which is the only reason why Usyk won the fight. Yeah,
you have to with the knockdown.
With the knockdown,
and I think personally I had it I had a 115, 113. So it would with the 10-8 plus I gave him 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rounds total.
Yeah, I gave him 6 as well.
Because I think he took over after round 5.
Yeah. So I would agree with you there. I think that I do think it was pretty even, but that one round really just took it for him. And man, it was, like I said, just an exciting fight. If you were a fair weather fan and you're expecting a knockout and didn't get it, this fight should not have disappointed you.
No, it shouldn't have. You've seen everything that heavyweight boxing has to offer.
Yeah. Including some big time damage.
Big time damage.
Yeah, you kind of got the benefits of a knockout without it.
You don't see a heavyweight fight with that much damage with somebody going the distance.
100%.
It was incredible.
All right, got a couple more for us. got to talk about Khalil Roundtree.
Yeah, it's terrible.
This is a terrible situation. You know, at first when you hear about it, you know, you don't get all the information, and it sounds like Khalil Roundtree had taken a banned substance. But then under further investigation, you find out that he was getting supplements from a sponsor that had a banned substance in it. He was unaware that this substance had it in it. And in my opinion, you should be able to sue that company.
I totally agree.
You gave me a product that had a banned substance, and now I lost the biggest fight of my career.
I've always thought that when you hear these tainted supplement stories, and you read into, when you first hear tainted supplement, you're like, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. But then you find out that yes, he's a lot of athletes. You take what your trainer gives you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your dietitian says, hey, I need you to take these supplements. Okay, you take it. Or he says, we're going to try a new company. Okay, you just trust him. And the dietitian's probably even fooled by the new company. So, yeah, and I totally agree they should be held accountable.
This is not only the biggest fight of his career, but everything he's been fighting for. Yeah. He's had a long road to get to this place.
Absolutely, up and down, rocky road.
A lot of work put in, and he couldn't have asked for a better opponent at that high of a level. Yes. A guy who's going to stand in front of him and kickbox.
Yeah.
That's what he needs most.
And it's a fantastic matchup for him.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you just robbed him of this moment.
Yeah.
And now what's going to happen next? Who's going to be his next opponent? Because I will say, in all fairness, they did only give him a 2-month suspension. They lowered it to 2 months. But who's he going to get now?
Yeah, who's he going to get out of it? I mean, they already filled the fight with Jamal Hill.
Yeah, and it's already said that Yuri's going to face Pereira. I think, in all seriousness, because of what happened to him, who he was supposed to fight, I think immediate title shot. Again, when his suspension's over, he should be able to come in and get a title shot because he was supposed to fight the guy who would have given him a title shot.
He's definitely owed something now. And and if you finish the likes of Jamal Hill or even get a handed unanimous decision, you get a title shot.
You get a title shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wasn't only the champ. He was one of the most dominant fighters in the division. So I love Khalil Roundtree. I've liked him so much since he came in, and I've only grown to like him more because he overcomes adversity.
Yeah.
Every time he falls down, he gets back up and advances his game. And to have something like this happen and not be your fault,
it's bad.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. Absolutely.
A couple little things. With Roundtree being out, Carlos Ulberg steps in,
and I don't hate it.
Don't hate it at all.
It's a better matchup for Hill. More of just a puncher. Whereas Roundtree is slick Muay Thai, and the speed.
And a brutal kicking power he possesses.
And speed, it's crazy. So, but Oberg going to stand and bang with him too. It's going to be an exciting fight. It's not let down on our end.
Correct.
So much.
Exactly. We're going to get an exciting fight.
Huge opportunity for Oberg.
Because once again, he wins this fight and it propels him to a title shot.
I mean, it should. He's on I think 7-fight win streak.
I would say
KOing people.
I would say with the UFC, if he was on a 1-fight win streak and you beat Jamal Hill,
that's true.
Why do you have to beat anybody else?
Yeah.
Because technically that's a title fight. Homeboy, not the first fight, but the first fight he's lost in a long time was only to the champ. So, and then the other thing I want to bring up is Donkey of the Day in Cyril Gane. He was offered the Tom Aspinall fight, which is for the interim title, which could eventually be the actual undisputed title.
Right.
Even Curtis Blades said it. He doesn't believe that John Jones is going to defend.
Right.
So after Stipe, so Cyril Gane gets offered the Tom Aspinall fight, and he says, "No, I'm doing a movie. Sorry." What movie?
Right.
You a movie star now?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Doing a French B-list movie.
Exactly. A movie that only people in France are going to care to see.
Yeah. I like Cyril Gane's skill, and his ability is fantastic, but he never seemed like a guy that was all in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he seemed like a guy who had tons of options, career-wise.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? I guess he's done some entertainment stuff before.
Really?
He was into modeling before.
Okay.
And
someone said it would be funny if him and Kevin Hart did a Twins 2 or a Twins reboot.
I can't disagree.
Yeah. I think it could be funny.
With the French accent, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
was raised in France.
That could be extremely hilarious.
Because it would make good sense. Arnold Schwarzenegger was foreign, you know what I mean? Cyril's foreign, like that.
Two short comedians, you know. It could be entertaining. Just a couple.
I don't think he's just not all in.
No,
you know,
clearly not.
Because that's a good matchup for him. I think it's a better matchup for him against Aspinall than Curtis Blades. You know, like
Curtis Blades is a terrible matchup for him. And if Cyril if Curtis Blades wins, that's who you have to fight next.
Like, you know, so, and you can't. We know you can't wrestle.
No, like, for worth a damn.
I don't know.
Ilya Taporia says he wants to defend his belt against Max Holloway, but then he wants Conor afterwards.
And I think he only is acknowledging Max Holloway because of the fans pushing after Max's performance against Gaethje.
Correct.
You know,
and the fact that he, you know, I think some part of him, and I have to agree that Max Holloway has given some big-time legitimacy to the BMF belt. He's made it a thing again, and I think he actually officially made it a thing. And I want to take the again out of it. Right. I think he's made it a thing, and I think Ilya covets it. You know?
I agree.
Because champ is one thing, baddest motherfucker on the planet is another.
And I think he's dying to be a fan favorite.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he tries a little hard, you know?
And he could be. I have no dislike towards the man.
Yeah.
But and then, you know, the Conor thing is obvious. He thinks that if he beats Max and he takes on Conor, it's going to be the biggest card in UFC history. Right. And I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Right. And
if you beat Max,
especially, you know, you finish Max Holloway.
If you knock out Max Holloway, I say this right now. If you knock out Max Holloway, you become the biggest star in the UFC, hands down.
Yeah, it'll absolutely have people jumping to your ship.
Yeah,
you know? People will abandon Max for Taporia.
And true Max lovers are gonna hate you. You'll be a villain to the true Max supporters, but being that big of a villain, it only makes you that much more famous.
Absolutely, and then you still be the title holder. Plus, you can claim the BMF belt.
Holding on, walking out with both of them.
Right.
You know, so that's awesome. And then this one, because I spoke on it before, something I suggested, predicted, whatever you want to call it, Angela Hill, after her excellent victory, which we'll talk about later, calls out Jessica Andrade for the rematch.
Yeah.
And that right there is female BMF status.
And I love it. I think absolutely you could produce a female BMF belt with this bout. You know, they both had their ups and downs. They're both the type that, you know, even on a loss, we're still going to watch them.
Absolutely.
And we still like them.
And they both go for it every time. Not afraid of any fight and ready to go at anybody.
And their skills match up well for excitement. You know? Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. All right, we spent a lot of time on the news. Let's see how much of this card we can knock out. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The first fight we missed recapping was 301.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so UFC 301, Pantoja versus Erceg. And let's start at the bottom and jump into Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Boharas. And Costa takes the dub on this one.
Yeah, I can't say that I saw all these fights, but I wrote down what I remember and what I liked.
Yeah, so that was a KO for Costa.
There was a good amount of finishes.
There was a good amount. This card was actually pretty okay for a lackluster cast, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Ismael Bonfim versus Vince Pichel.
Yeah, the mustache couldn't get it done.
The mustache could not get it done. But I did watch this fight, and this was a fight of true heart.
It was a dog fight.
Yeah.
He looked like an old man fighting a young athlete.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And just hanging in there.
Yeah.
And then in the women's flyweight division, we got Dion Barbosa versus Ernesta Caracas.
I don't remember.
I don't know. So we got a third round unanimous decision for Dion Barbosa. Is she Edson Barbosa's sister or wife?
That's interesting, though.
Interesting. In the main event, the main event of the early prelims performance of the night, Mauricio Ruffy versus Jamie Malarkey. Did you see this one?
I don't remember.
This was a first round KO.
Yeah, Malarkey getting tagged up.
Malarkey getting
and often
blown out.
I do remember it now.
Just bashing fists with his face.
Yeah.
And this got a performance of the night for Ruffy, TKO. And to start the prelims in the lightweight bout, we have Joaquin Silva versus Drakkar Klose, and this was a tough fight.
That was a back and forth. Was it Klose who had the guillotine? And,
yes.
And he slams him down, goes backwards.
Yeah, he did that thing. I've seen videos where he threw him backwards. Yeah.
I saw it in the one championship before, and this time, it kind of released him a bit.
Yeah.
But when I had seen it before, dude held on and he stood up and did it again. But yeah, that's when it kind of got him out of it. But it's good to see Drakkar Klose fighting well again.
Absolutely. In the lightweight division, Alves Brenner versus Mike Ty Beck Oral By?
Yeah, sure.
Whatever. And this was a unanimous decision for Oral By. Then we have in the women's strawweight division, Karolina Kovalkiewicz versus Ismene Lucindo.
Yes. Carolina just getting decisioned again.
Yeah, man.
You know,
she was on such a good run.
She did have a good run again, and she's just so predictable. I don't know. You know, you come up with a good game plan and you can beat her.
I feel like she changed up coming in this new run, and I'm like, man, you just want to root for her. But yeah, she's not exciting. She is predictable, and she's right back into the losing column. Main event of the prelims, we got Jack Shore versus Joe Anderson Brito.
Yeah, I remember that KO for Jack Shore early, wasn't it?
A doctor stoppage on Jack Shore. Actually, They changed it to a doctor stoppage TKO.
Okay.
I saw it, but I didn't.
remember it was round 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, because I think it was like
the leg.
The leg, yes,
leg from
he
the
had a
leg
hole
kicks.
in his leg from leg kicks.
Hole in his leg.
And the doctor's just like digging in it.
Does that hurt?
Yeah,
and
it's
you see
broken.
Him, ow. Yeah, so I think he chipped his bone.
Yeah, and a guy like Jack Shore, he wants to fight.
It's a hematoma, but if you're just bleeding, they wouldn't care. Yeah. But I think he felt a chipped bone in there.
Maybe.
You know?
Whatever. No, I didn't like that stoppage. He wanted to fight.
There's got to be a reason that that you won't let him continue, because I've saw bloody shins plenty of times.
Exactly.
But,
we've seen it 100%. All right, to start the main event in the middleweight bout, Paul Craig versus Kyle Borrello, the ninja nerd or whatever.
And I like him. He's a kind of up and comer, a little wild.
Yep.
But I actually like. I think that it sets up a good fight here because of that card. Because we had also Michel Pereira, winning early in the first round.
Can we just talk about that? So Michel. So we got to say, Borrello wins with a TKO of Paul Craig performance of the night.
Yeah.
And then another performance of the night for Michel Pereira versus Ior Pereira.
Pretoria.
I think, And can we talk about the fact that Michel Pereira has reinvented himself as a middleweight bully?
So dangerous.
Oh my God.
The power, the athleticism. He's scary, man.
It's very scary.
But they building him slow, which I like.
Yeah.
And I want to see him fight Chow.
Yeah. I think that's a great fight.
Why not?
But to me, it's like you got to ignore welterweight Pereira.
Yes.
That Pereira is out of the UFC.
Absolutely.
Middleweight, it's not like the guys who have gone up a weight class, down a weight class. This is not the same thing.
No.
Michel Pereira has reinvented himself in middleweight division. Mm-hmm. This is a new fighter who has turned into a complete and utter bully. And if they bring him along right, he could have championship status in his name.
And Tristan Conley, hold on to that W forever.
Hold on to it forever.
That's the best thing you did in your life, my boy.
The best thing ever, and no one will ever be. Because not only can they not take it away from you, you whooped him.
Oh yeah.
You didn't get some sort of easy submission. No, you whooped him.
Yeah.
And he has to live with that one forever. Light heavyweight bout, Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino, and this is another dummy of the day.
Yeah. Anthony Smith with the submission round 1?
Round 1.
2 minutes in?
2 minutes in with the guillotine that this dude can, I don't know if you watched it, but he set it up for him.
Yes.
He goes in for the double leg. Anthony Smith gets a guillotine, and he picks him up like you're putting your girl up on the counter and tucks him in. Yeah. Here, get these hooks in real quick.
Head on the outside, too. And you're like, what? It was crazy.
I'm like, so you want to lose is what you're telling me.
So you're just asking a black belt to submit you?
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. But what I do want to talk about with this win, with Anthony Smith taking this dub, one, there's this whole beef with him and Alex Pereira. And Pereira has said, hooks in, on his back, hooks in, 5 minutes, he can't submit him, $50,000. And then they agreed, and then it became, I do respect this, $50,000 to a charity.
Right.
If Pereira wins, $50,000 goes to his charity, and he said Alex Smith can do whatever he wants with his, and then I think he upped it to $100,000.
Yeah.
And Alex Smith is all for it.
Yeah, I mean, why not meet at the gym? Why not? Why wouldn't you be all for it? You know what I mean?
To be honest with you,
it could propel your name like I tapped the champ.
This is what I think should happen. We got Fight Pass, right? And they always host the grappling events on Fight Pass.
Yep.
Make this the main event, or just make it the opening.
Yeah.
Start it off, middle of the card, whatever.
Yeah.
Get these guys in the ring with a ref, put them with the hooks in.
Yeah.
5 minutes on the clock, and see what happens. I think it should be the main event because of the names on these two gentlemen. Let's see this happen.
Yeah, why not?
You know, UFC should be jumping all on this because this is just some entertainment for the crowd.
Right, and I get, you don't want to make yourself look like Trailer Boxing or, these crazy YouTube stuff, but
this is a charity event.
Yeah, it's a charity event. Do it on the Polaris grappling, like you said.
And this doesn't say that Pereira. I mean, this doesn't say Anthony Smith could beat Pereira or Pereira could beat Anthony Smith. This is just, can you avoid being submitted in 5 minutes with the hooks in?
Right.
And I love it. But I also want to say, I think that Anthony Smith should fight his twin brother.
Yeah.
I think he should fight his Euro brother. I think they both fight at light heavyweight.
I believe so.
So if they do, I would like to see this match happen. It's going to confuse a lot of people.
I think so too. And why not? So was it Bogdan something? I can't remember.
I don't know his name. Yeah. His name will forever be Anatoly Smythe. Anatoly Smythe. Euro Anthony Smith. Those are the only two acceptable names from here on out.
Yes, no, I agree.
And now we have to talk about, in my opinion, fight of the month. And only because of what you got. In the bantamweight division, the return of Jose Aldo versus Jonathan Martinez.
Yes.
And this one blew my mind.
Fantastic fight.
Vintage Jose Aldo.
Yeah. You had the young, surging Jonathan Martinez. I thought,
we said it.
Jose Aldo, I thought, was in for a bad night.
Thrown to the wolves.
But shows again why he's Jose Aldo. One of the best ever.
At his age, to get back in the lab, recalculate and reinvent and come back in and look like a prospect. Not just a prospect, but a high-level prospect.
Right, the speed back again. I mean,
speed, power, takedown defense, everything. He got the total package.
Oh, yeah.
And if this doesn't reinvigorate your fan base and have people believe in you again, I don't know what does.
As a longtime fan of Jose Aldo, I loved it. Like you said, it looked vintage. I mean, he's snapping leg kicks again. Throwing the fast hands, keeping the hands
movement,
up. Yeah, he's got the shoulders rocking.
Yeah,
right.
so exciting of a fighter.
It's high energy again.
I've never been more happy for a comeback, and he didn't get put up against a bum.
Right.
And he came in made him look like a bum.
Right. Martinez was, the young dog, up and comer. He's been beating tons of people.
Yeah.
And I thought that he deserved a fight like this.
Absolutely.
And he got shown up.
Got
a little humbled.
Absolutely.
It looked like he was like, I'm going to throw this old man around. He was heavy under wrestling pressure, too.
Yeah. And he came in thinking, I'm going to dominate a legend, and it's going to propel my name to the sky, and instead you just got buried in the dirt.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
All right, main event of the pay-per-view, defending the flyweight belt is the champ Alexander Pantoja versus Steve Erceg, and I'm calling once again, this is double dummy of the week, because not because he was bad, but because he was dumb.
Yeah.
what an impressive performance by this young kid.
I totally agree. I for a while thought we was gonna have a new champ.
I was settled on the fact that we had a new champ.
Right.
So I mean, he's coming in looking as a person who's not supposed to be in there,
Right.
looking like the champ, defending his belt.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing
Right.
to lose. Fighting incredibly, super technical, and then it's tied up 2-2,
Yeah.
and you do the dumbest thing a person can do against the guy who you ain't gonna be able to do it to, and you go for the wrestling and put yourself on the ground when you're winning the round.
Right. When you've already won 2 rounds based off your hands.
Yep.
And you're even winning the final round.
Correct. Winning the round.
Yes, winning the round, and then you put yourself in a grappling situation that you didn't need to be in.
Not only didn't need to be, shouldn't be in.
You shouldn't. Nobody should be trying to grind out Pantoja at the end of a fight. That's a crazy thought process.
I don't understand
That's
it.
what
And his
he
coaches
does.
told him not to do that. And you're winning the round. If you go all out and you get knocked out by Pantoja, not one negative thing is going to be said about you.
Absolutely not.
And if you lose that round because you went hard and he happened to beat you, not one bad thing is going to be said about you.
You're lose a split decision. You know what I mean?
And furthermore, if you go hard and you win that round, you have just reached the pinnacle in a fight you wasn't supposed to be in.
Right, and you're now the champion.
And you're the champ. But no, you play stupid.
It's hard to get into a fighter's head, especially in round 5. I didn't think that he got hurt with anything to make the grappling exchange happen.
Absolutely not.
Maybe something's happening. That his body's shutting down a little bit. Maybe he feels he has to go for it. I don't know.
To be honest with you, in all reality,
'Cause
it can be chalked up to nerves.
As a boxer,
Yeah.
I would think, if you want to burn the rest of the round off, dance around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Move away.
Move away.
Don't go for it.
Just
throw
just
some
touch and
jabs.
walk. Stick and move.
Yeah.
Stick and move. But I do think the nerves got the best of him. I think he saw. He saw the finish line, and then
I agree.
And then but didn't see the elevated piece of land,
right?
And tripped right over it. And that was the end of that run. So I mean. Let's be honest. He's going to get another chance.
Fight. He's going to get another. I mean, we'll see him in probably a number 1 contenders fight next.
Absolutely. 100%. His next fight is going to be one of the Brandons.
Yeah.
For a number 1 contendership, it's going to be one of the Brandons. So we'll see how it goes. But let's get into this next card. We got to bang through these. Luis Nascimento versus Derek. I said Luis Nascimento.
Yes,
Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. This was a fight night, so let's jump right into it. J.J. Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy, and that's
formerly Veronica Macedo married Dan Hardy.
Dan Hardy, yeah. And this was a unanimous decision for Hardy.
She looked good.
Aldrich, man, she
took a beating, though.
Yeah.
Aldrich.
Yeah.
She took a lot of shots.
I think that's what she just does.
Yeah, it seems it.
Yeah, she's the one who takes the beatings. Charles Johnson versus Jake Hadley. This is also a decision for Johnson.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
I did not see it either.
I like Charles Johnson, too.
In the welterweight division, fight of the night, Billy Ray Goff versus Trey Waters, and it was a slugfest.
Billy Ray Goff.
It was Trey Waters. He's light skinned black dude, bald.
Okay, yeah.
Billy Ray Goff. Tall, dark, and ass beat. I don't know. This really was an exciting fight. This went back and forth the entire time. No one really got beat down. It came, like I said, it came to a decision, and it happened to go Waters' way.
Nice.
And then in the women's strawweight division, Tabitha Ricci versus the newly formed Tessa Pennington instead of Tessa Torres.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a decent fight.
Great fight. And I thought it was gonna go to Tessa, but it was a split decision in favor of Ricci.
Yeah, I think it was Pennington's fight personally. The faster hands and that striking was better.
And then this one saddens me because on a downward spiral in the lightweight division, Terrence McKinney versus Esteban Ribovic.
Yeah, Ribovic with just the technique of the week.
Oh my God!
Man. With that
how
step
do you
through
not
high
get performance of the night?
Yeah, crazy. Especially with the single strike. Reminded me of the Gregor Gillespie getting knocked out by Kevin Lee.
Oh,
yes. With the big head kick.
with the big head kick.
Folded, sitting down in the cage. McKinney was talking.
Yeah.
When he hit the canvas, he was like, he didn't know where. He was asleep.
He wasn't even in the shadow realm. He was in the dream realm.
Yeah.
He was in dream realm.
And
like such a big prospect who's just losing fight after
just
fight.
Goes for it.
Yeah.
And then gets, hit with something big. It's terrible to see, honestly. Yeah.
All right, main event of the prelims, we have Chase Hooper versus a name that...
Vyacheslav Borshev.
There you go.
Yes.
And, man, Charles Hooper put on some weight. Chase Hooper put on weight and has just become
looks
a
like
force.
An adult now.
Yeah.
He was all gangly before.
Looks like a straight man.
He's got grown man weight on him. There's a little controversy with the tap on that one. It was in round 2, and a guy was trying to say he didn't tap. It looked like he clearly tapped once, you know what I mean?
And you only have to tap one time.
Yeah.
You're not, in a submission position, you're not allowed to do that.
It's not. You can't just do that. I say that all the time when people complain, like, oh, no, I was grabbing around. But what would make you do that?
Yeah.
Like just a regular tap. Like,
and I mean, let's be honest. You
were getting mauled anyways.
Yeah, it was going to happen. And no matter what, you were going to lose the fight as well. Yeah. And props to him for not getting submitted. Chase Hooper had him in some compromising positions.
Constant submission threat over and over. Anytime that Borshev changed position, Hooper was all over.
I'm hoping that we're seeing the rise of Hooper because he was a very highly touted young prospect who came in a little too early and maybe I don't even think rose too early, just was outmatched too early and has now found himself. And hopefully this is the beginning of his rise.
Long career.
Yeah, long career.
He's got a lot of years ahead of him.
In the heavyweight bout, Waldo Cortez Acosta facing the exciting Robles Despain, and this did not go Despain's way.
Silenced the hype train real quick.
100%. Unfortunately, Dana White calling this the most boring fight, and he's like that. He was dogging Costa.
Yeah, which is rough
Acosta.
Because I think he put together a smart performance. What do you do against a crazy explosive guy? Ground him, hold him there.
Yeah.
It's not like he was too conservative. He laid some good ground and pound.
He put on ground and pound.
I think he beat dude up pretty good.
Yeah. And once again, this is a 6'7", explosive, fast, power punching dude, and there was plenty of times you stood in front of him.
He stood with him for a while. Yeah. Landed a couple good shots.
Landed real good shots. I thought he looked great. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in the flack he got from Dana White. I get it in this card where a lot of the fights were exciting. Yeah. I get that part of it, but Homeboy's in there against a monster who put someone to bed who did make bad decisions. I understand Dana White wants fighters to be exciting, but you also need to win fights to get closer to a title.
You don't want it to be like whatever it was. Josh Parisi just running at him. That don't do nothing. Acosta fought a good fight and got himself a unanimous decision.
Absolutely. In the featherweight bout, my man, Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson, and this was an awesome fight.
What a great technical fight.
Yeah.
Between these two lightweights, right? Is it or featherweights?
Featherweights, yeah.
Woodson's great.
He is.
He's
in. Oh man.
Some people, find him boring, but he's reserved. He's smart.
He's technical.
So technical.
Oh my god.
His frame is so weird for guys. Yep. They don't know what to do.
And he's super tall and long.
Yeah.
Just like Sean O'Malley. So it's kind of tough.
It gives you people a lot of problems.
And I think he looked great, but let's give it up also for Alex Caceres, who came in that third round, put in work, won that round, and put Woodson not only in danger but on his bike. He was trying to stay out of trouble.
Right, which is his MO. He uses great footwork and tries to avoid damage. I think he's got to stand in the pocket a little more.
Because he could. I think there were moments in the first 2 rounds where he probably could have possibly finished Caceres had he put it on a little bit better. But I mean, either way, props to both fighters for putting on an exciting show, and props to Woodson for getting another dub.
And I think Woodson needs a fairly good opponent now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's time for him to get a big name.
All right, so performance of the night in the lightweight bout, we have Diego Ferreira versus Matus Rebecki.
Yeah, Rebecca looked like he was trying to handle it with the wrestling, but Ferreira's been around a long time and scores a late KO. That was awesome.
It was pretty sweet, and propels him up the list. So we'll see how that goes.
People be forgetting about him, even though he was, the first bantamweight champion. He was the title holder.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Light heavyweight bout versus Alonzo Menningfield versus the soon-to-be fighting Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg. And this was
like, I think that I heard them say the fourth or third fastest KO in light heavyweight history.
It's definitely top 5, like 14 seconds, I think it was.
12 seconds.
12,
I think,
okay.
Round 1, yeah. Hits him with a big shot, crumples him, finishes it up.
Yeah.
Well, Menifield, it's get knocked out or knock somebody out. He throws big power.
He went in a little bit too wild though, running and all that. Let's show a little bit more technique. Yeah. Like, we get it, you're explosive, but
But I mean, Ulberg with a string of knockouts and you got no respect for that power and you run at him like that.
Insane.
Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah, another dummy of the day. And then in the welterweight division, Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Rezabov. And wow, Joaquin Buckley is really making a name for himself.
How well-rounded is he getting? The wrestling is what I love.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This guy, Ruzaboev's supposed to be like, was it Kazakhstan or something
yeah,
like that?
he's one of those guys. He's a
big time.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, old Soviet Union.
One of the stars.
Great wrestler. And Joaquin Buckley throwing him around.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Super surprising. Little crazy call out, calling for Conor McGregor. Your name's not big enough for Conor McGregor to even respond to what you're saying. But later on, called out our guy, Gilbert Burns, which is a fight I love.
I like it a lot. It's time for Buckley to probably get a solid welterweight.
Yeah.
He's surging. He's winning.
Top 10 guy. He needs he's 11 now. He needs a top 10 guy.
I totally agree.
And Gilbert Burns turns down no opponent, and he is no slouch.
Absolutely.
So this would be an excellent bout. And then we jump right into the main event. Heavyweight division, Derek Lewis, Rodrigo Nascimento, and Derek Lewis just doing work.
Back in the win column, like in only Derek Lewis fashion.
Absolutely.
Big punch for a big KO.
Super exciting.
And late, too, while he's tired. It's always when he's tired that he produces his best work.
His best work.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's getting fun. He's getting exciting. He took off his gloves. I thought he was going to retire, but then he just gets naked in the octagon.
Strips everything.
Yeah,
pulls
mooning
his cup
the audience.
Out.
Throws the cup to the announcers, and then Dana White signed the cup, as did Derek Lewis, which is super funny. I don't think he made any call out, but
I think he said, I need to sit my ass down and get back on that cardio.
Yeah. To be honest with you, if there was a fight, we've talked about this before, if there was a fight I would love to see, it's a heavyweight BMF between him and Tai Tuivasa. He needs to get that back. He needs that W back from Tai Tuivasa.
I totally agree. I think he's the better fighter.
Yeah.
What's not to love about Derek Lewis?
What is not to love? And you couldn't ask for more fight from two guys who like to bang and who like to knock people out. So I think it would be really fun. And we're running low on time, so I don't want to disrespect the Barboza-Murphy fight in that card, and we don't have a card next week, so I think we're gonna save the recap of that card and we'll and the review of the upcoming pay-per-view, because I do have a couple things. I have a list of fighters on here that I wanted to go over, in the couple minutes we have, of some fighters that I think
I like it.
On short notice or jump the line, kind of like what Urseg did. Jump the line fight in a last minute ditch to get somebody in. In the heavyweight division, Waldo Cortez Acosta, a guy we just talked about, a guy who shows all the skill in the world. If need be, on a short notice fight, you got to have someone come and fight. The likes of Tom Aspinall or Curtis Blades, whoever the champ may be. I think this guy has showed that he could come up and be competitive.
Yeah,
we're not talking about win or lose, competitive.
Heavy hands, great wrestling.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why
Athletic.
not?
He's got enough steam to go, 3 rounds, probably could do 5.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then in light heavyweight division, funny enough, I put his name down before any of this
And here he
shuffling
comes
went.
in at short notice.
Yeah,
you know?
Carlos Ulberg in the light heavyweight division, a guy I think could come up and challenge Pereira, Jamal Hill, who he's gonna fight, any one of these guys for the belt on a short notice fight and be competitive. But now it looks like if he wins this fight, he's right in line for the title.
Absolutely, and I like short notice fights. You know, it shows who's staying in shape. Or in Ulberg's case, you know, he got the quick win, so he's ready to go still. You know, just keep your camp going. And yeah, I like short notice fights. It propels people.
It's
some
exciting.
of the best. We get some of the greatest fighters. From
Absolutely, and some of the greatest fights. Some guys who aren't supposed to be there, it's their Super Bowl and they give it all. In the middleweight division, another guy we just talked about, Michel Pereira.
Yeah.
I think this guy in the middleweight division, I think he fights with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I think he could come in against Duplessis or Izzy or whatever and just go so hard. He's got the power and everything. Backflip kicks to the chest.
Yeah.
Getting lucky and not landing to the head.
I mean, he could never make a short notice fight at welterweight, but middleweight.
Middleweight, 100%.
Yeah.
Then we move on to welterweight. Ian Gary was the first name that came to mind just because of his high-level striking ability at welterweight. A fight between him and Leon Edwards, I think, would be exciting. But another guy who I actually really like, Michael Morales. Brazilian kid, you know, got the low cut, very in shape, very high-level fighter. I think he could come in short notice and impress people.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And guys like that need a shot at a big name. And
Absolutely.
some people don't want to take a chance on them because it doesn't do anything for their career.
Exactly.
But it's just a huge risk.
Huge risk.
Hats off to Jamal Hill for letting Ulberg feel it.
Absolutely, for taking the fight. Just shows you what kind of competitor.
Because, I mean,
Jamal
he was
Hill
already
is.
going down to fight Roundtree. Now he's going down further to fight Ulberg. He'll take anybody in.
Much respect to the gentleman. And then in the featherweight division, Diego Lopez or Sean Woodson.
Oh, yeah.
Two guys, high level abilities, someone who could come in and if not win, make the fight extremely competitive.
Easy to make weight for those two guys, you know. Totally agree. I watch Diego Lopez fight anybody. Like Sean Woodson, too. It's always going to be technical. He's always got the gas tank.
Absolutely. Yeah. Bantamweight division, you got to throw a Nurmagomedov in it, so I got Umar in there. But I also threw, just because he's a super exciting talent up and coming, Peyton Talbot.
I like it. I like it, too, a lot. Peyton Talbot. I want to see more activity. Yeah, I'm dying to see his next fight, honestly.
And then in the flyweight division, you know, the obvious answer is Steve Erceg. You know, giving him another shot, because I think with another shot, there's a good chance he takes it away. But
I think he's out of that position. He's out of that position because he's up there.
Correct.
You know, now he's proven himself.
So I put in Asu Alabaz.
Okay.
Alabayez.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is. Super exciting guy, up and comer, and I think he's a guy who, just like Erceg, could jump up and be competitive in this division. Women's fighters. This one was a little bit harder. So started out in the women's bantamweight division. Jacqueline Cavalcanti.
Yeah, Cavalcanti.
Cavalcanti.
I've been wondering about her if she's related to Gisais Cavalcanti, who I competed against in MMA. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, you're going to have to look that up. That'd be cool.
Every time I see that name, fantastic. It would have to be probably his daughter.
Or sister, cousin.
Much younger. Though.
Much younger, yeah.
Yeah, he would have to have like a 20-year age difference.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, there it is.
Come on, man. We ain't young around here.
In the women's flyweight division, a girl I really like, I've spoke about as a possible flyweight BMF fighter, is Karine Silva. She is. She's a force to be reckoned with.
Just goes for it. You know, I like the fighters that are super confident like that, and I think that that mindset puts you in a good space for a short notice fight.
Absolutely.
You know, having ultimate confidence in yourself, even if you haven't been tested against a big name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are, like we said, we're saying people who are long shots, but if short notice could have a competitive fight and have just as much of a chance as any top fiver to walk away with the dub. And then finally in the strawweight division, another woman who just won a really good fight is Yasmin Lucindo.
Okay, I like that a lot. Yeah, you know,
it was harder with the women because a lot of the the really good, the up and coming contenders are so far down, and they haven't really faced a lot of adversity or been able to showcase so much of their skill. But
like I said, I think it's more like a mindset thing. Like, what would you do if you got that shot? And I agree, all those people would mentally step up.
They would mentally step up.
I'm going to take advantage of this shot. And do the best I can.
The one after watching him fight that made me the most excited, I gotta admit, I was super surprised, was Chase Hooper.
Yeah.
I feel like his groundwork made me think like, man, if he faced Islam Makhachev, Islam is strong.
Right.
So he's going to be outmatched in the strength, but he just has the ability
He's never going to stop moving.
Never going to stop moving. And he's just as skilled in getting in and out of position.
Them crazy scrambles is really tough to deal with. Plus the length of limb, too.
And I think he might have a speed advantage on the ground over Islam. So I think it would be exciting. All right, that was a great one for you guys. I was super excited. So that's all we have for you this week. So until next week, be safe, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Peace.